Good evening, everyone. It is Monday, 24th of October, 2022. My name is Charles. I am the instructor at the Exodus Logistics Learning Center, which features the Dispatcher 101 training for beginners, as well as Freight Broker 101 training for beginners. We're currently on the YouTube channel for the Dispatcher 101 training for beginners. I want to do a Q&A, and then I have a couple of announcements. Those of you, hey, LaDonna, hit the thumbs up. If you are in here now, hit the thumbs up. I see one thumbs up. Probably LaDonna's. Hopefully, LaDonna, everything's all right over in St. Louis. There was a shooting over at the school, I believe, one of the schools over there. Hopefully, everything's good over there and not too many fatalities. St. Louis. So I'm opening up the table for Q&A. But before I open up for Q&A, I wanted to do a couple of announcements. The first announcement will be, you're welcome, LaDonna. First announcement is starting a week from today, November 1st through December 31st. So from November to the end of the year 2022, if you have not enrolled in the Dispatcher 101 training for beginners, ongoing training, we are having a half off sale, 50% off sale. Okay. For starting November 1st through December 31st. We want to end the year on a high note by offering you guys the opportunity to take advantage of some training at an inexpensive entry point. Okay. And you can still get the same level of training, things of that nature. So what does that mean? The 50% off, the current price point of Dispatcher 101 ongoing training is $4.99. We're not saying the PayPal payment plan or the 2-for-1, but the 50% off of the single member or the 50% off of the 2-for-1, it applies there. You get, when you enroll initially, you get the first 30 days of that and everything that's included in that. Access to our load boards, access to our live Zoom trainings, access to our tools and resources, forms and documents, recorded trainings, everything that we have in our portal, all of the resources for the first 30 days. You still get the same thing. You're just getting it if you decide to enroll from November 1st to the December 31st. You just get it for half off. And yes, it is 2-for-1 now so it's $7.99. It'll be $800. So it'll be $3.99. MMA on point, not $4.99, but $3.99. Half of that. Okay. You get it for the first 30 days. If you want to continue having access after your initial enrollment, 30 days of that price point, now at 50%, starting November 1st, then there still will be that month-to-month subscription for however long you want to stay in it month-to-month. It's not just for up to a year from your initial enrollment date. It can be for however long you decide to do it. But the month-to-month will still be $29.99 a month until the end of 2022. The reason why I'm offering such a high price point, 50% off, half off extravaganza for the end of the year, is because our prices are changing next year in 2023. And that was the second announcement. We're slightly going up. We're going from $4.99, the regular price point, to $5.99. But you won't just get 30 days in 2023 when you enroll at $5.99. You'll get 90 days access. So 3 months access at that price point. And then if you want to continue after your 90 days free, let's say you didn't learn enough or you wanted to continue to stay in our network, take advantage of our Facebook group, things like that. After 90 days, now instead of 30 in 2022, after 90 in 2023, if you want to do month to month after that, then it'll be an extra $5 per month. Instead of $29.99, it'll be $34.99. So we're slightly changing our prices, but we're giving you an extended amount of time to stay on for free after that initial enrollment, right? To stay on, not for free, but after the initial enrollment time. So those were the announcements. I'll do Q&A also, but those were the announcements. The first announcement, we're ending the year on a high note, 2022, by offering those of you who are subscribers who have yet to join Dispatcher 101 Training for Beginners from November 1st through the end of the year, December 31st, we're offering 50%, half off of our regular ongoing price. Can't get, the only thing better than that is free, right? But we're running a business, so we have to charge something, right? So half off is a pretty interesting way to get you interested in deciding to become an independent freight dispatcher, entering into the industry at a relatively cheap price point, and taking advantage of an abundance of resources and trainings. So, and then in 2023, our price points are going to change. Our regular dispatching price point will go up to $5.99 from $4.99, but instead of getting 30 days at that price point, you're going to get 90 days. And the month to month, instead of being $29.99 per month, after the 90 days, it's going to be $34.99. So a slight increase, but more time and more value for you. Okay. So let me scroll back up and entertain some questions here. MMA on point, average pay for first year dispatchers. So the average pay for the first year dispatcher, that's a great question. MMA on point. It varies. It depends on how many carriers, truck drivers you're dispatching for. It depends on what you are charging them, either a flat fee or a percentage for the week. And it depends on how many miles those carriers are driving. Are they over the road? Are they local? Are they home every night? So there's several variables to consider. But on average, I would say, let's say you got 5 carriers and you're grossing them $10,000 a week. You're charging 10%. You can easily do 6 figures as a dispatcher if you maintain keeping those carriers grossing their $8,000 to $10,000 a week, and you're dispatching them at 10% as a percentage, or even a flat fee. You can still gross 100,000, but you have to put in the work. You have to understand what dispatching is, So, 16 in here, 9 thumbs up. Click the thumbs up if you haven't yet. Let's see. Hello, Buffalo Soldiers. MMA on point, 2 for 1. So the 2 for now, $4.99 is actually $3.99, because the 2 for 1 right now is $7.99, which is 800. Half of 800 is 400. So that'll be $3.99 instead of $4.99. MMA on point. Ashley said, "Dang, I should have waited one more month." Right. So we just decided to do this because we said, well, let's do a year-end special. Let's give some people in, because our numbers have been down and we want to still motivate people to try to become their own bosses, start their own businesses. So let's get them interested. And the best way to get them interested is to affect their pockets in a positive way, to motivate them to invest in themselves at a cheaper starting point. So that's what we decided to do. How about if you only have one carrier? What's the average pay per week? So the average pay per week, Buffalo Soldiers, if you have one carrier, again, that's another good question, but it's also variable again. So if you got one carrier that you're dispatching for, if it's either a drive-in, flatbed, or reefer equipment type, it depends also if they're driving between 2,500 to 3,000 miles a week, and you are getting them between $2.50 to $3 a mile, then you do the simple math, right? So let's do the math on that. Let me bring up my calculator in the background here. Let's say you got an over-the-road carrier, and let's say they do 2,500 miles a week. Let's say they do 3,000 miles a week in a 5 to 6 day work week, right? So let me give you some numbers here, okay? So let's say 3,000 miles a week at 6. If you do 3,000 miles a week over the road to carrier, and they do 6 day work week, so you divide that by 6, that's 500 miles a day, which is a carrier can do that. They can drive 500 miles a day. On average, carriers do about 600 to 700 miles a day. You figure they're driving 11 hours straight at 65, 70 miles an hour on some interstates. So that's well over 650 to 700 miles. We just said 500 miles because we did a 6-day work week and we go from there. So now you just mentioned you do 7% as a new dispatcher. Okay, so now so that's another variable that you just put into the equation. So your carrier is running, let's say your carrier is running 3,000 miles a week. Let's say your carrier wanted at least $3 a mile for one of those equipment types that they are running, dry van, flatbed, or reefer. So you say 3,000 miles a week, and you want to average them over the week. Some loads may be higher than $3 a mile. Some loads may be lower than $3 a mile. But on average, over that time, that week's time, that 3,000 miles, it averages out to $3 a mile. So 3,000 miles at $3 a mile, you just gross them 9,000, right, for the week. Now you're charging your 7% of that gross. So 7% of the 9,000, that's $630 for the week for you, right? So that's that's $630 a week for you times 4 weeks in a month, right? Times 12 months in a year, right? So that one carrier that you just mentioned can get you gross you about $30,000 at those numbers that you just mentioned. 3,000 miles, averaging $3 a mile at 7%, right? Let's say it was 10%, right? It'll be 9,000 at 10%. So now 630 goes to 900 a week, correct? Times 4 weeks, which is 36, times a month, times 12. Now it went from 30,000 at 7% to about 43,200 at 10%. And that's just one carrier. And we're saying all things being equal, that's how that works, right? So that's one carrier. And how many carriers can one dispatcher effectively dispatch for at the same time with a balance? So if you're dispatching the same way for one carrier as you're doing for 2, 3, 4, or 5 before you decide you need to scale because you don't want to give less value to that 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th carrier. You want to give each carrier the same level of service. So what would that number be? What would that number cap at? Would it cap at 3? Would it cap at 4? Would it cap at 5? So Buffalo said 4 to 5. So let's say 4. You're averaging at 7%. You're averaging, which is 30,000. You're averaging a year at 30,000 a year, but you're doing it at 4 carriers. So 30,000 times 4, there's your over 100,000. That's 120,000. So the numbers will grow as you grow your carrier base, as you dispatch more carriers. Okay. That's how you have to look at it from a high level perspective to kind of give you, so you can imagine where you can be. But once you get that high level idea in your head, you still got to come back to reality in a sense where you have to still learn step by step and how to do dispatching effectively for the one carrier and then apply the same concepts for the one carrier that you would on the number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 until you reach that cap where you say, I can't apply the same level of service for the one carrier for number 5 or 6. I have to scale my business to then hire sub dispatchers to step in and take over the rest so that I can maintain the level of service for these 5 as I did if it was just one. Okay. So let's see. I would do based on how we are taught in class. What about if getting freight broker one-on-one? What is the sales price? Also, is it $34 a month for dispatchers? So I just did a YouTube video on the freight broker side, Mr. Saunders, Kevin Saunders, and I explained on the freight broker side what the numbers will be. It'll still be 50% off the normal price of the freight broker side for the end of the year, but in 2023 the price points are going to change. So if you are a subscriber to our Freight Broker 101 training for beginners, you'll be able to go over there and listen to that. It was 20 minutes over there, what we talked about over there. Okay. D. Rutt said, wow, first time catching it live. Hello to host and everyone in the chat. Hello, D. How are you? So So Buffalo Soldiers, okay, so Buffalo Soldiers, you're starting to understand the numbers now, right? He says, okay, 9K, 7% I see. They have been saying 7% is high. How do we combat that? Because we need to survive. And it's so they being, I'm assuming, Ashley, you're saying they being the carriers, the truck drivers, the owner operators. And for those of you who haven't clicked the thumbs up, there's 31 in here, there's 13 thumbs up. Click the thumbs up if you don't mind, please. So the standard percentage rate, the going, I should say, not the standard, but the going percentage rate is between 5 and 10%. 7 is a middle ground. 7 says that you're not green and you're not an expert. It's right in the middle. It's a fair number. So if you explain it that way to the potential carrier, they will be able to see, and also explain to them that that's just my rate, but my rate is going to be negotiated or added into the rate that the broker is obligated to pay you anyway for picking up some freight and delivering it, right? It's not coming out of your pocket, Mr. Carrier, Mr. Truck Driver, owner, operator. I'm going to roll my percentage from your gross or through your gross into the rate that the broker owes you for picking up that shipment from the shipper and delivering it to their customers, which are the receivers, okay? In class, you say up to 5, but it seems overwhelming to think that one dispatcher can handle 4 trucks. That is not overwhelming at all. This is Buffalo Soldiers asking that. That's a great question, but let me give you a concept to think about. Let's say you got one carrier, right? And you found them a load on a load board and had a decent broker, right? And let's say the carrier, the truck driver, the owner operator, their equipment type is a drive-in, okay? Find them a decent rate, $3 a mile. Nice broker, you guys communicated, you negotiated your rate, you included your percentage, your 7% in this case, into that rate, right? And then as you're dispatching for that one carrier, you ask the broker, hey, how many loads do you move in this lane, right? What is a lane? A lane is where wherever the carrier picks a load up from the origin, the shipper, and delivers it to a destination, the receiver. That is a lane from city to city, right? Norfolk, Virginia to Atlanta, Georgia. That's one lane, right? One-way line or line haul, okay? So then a broker says, we move about 10 of these a week, right? Well, you only got one carrier, so they can only move one of those 10 that week, right? Unless they move one, depending on how far it is, they move one and they have enough time to get back to grab another one, so on and so forth. But wouldn't it be wise as a dispatcher to possibly get another carrier of the same equipment type, put them in that same brokered lane or brokered load lane and run it just like the first carrier? So now you're streamlining your dispatching job, your dispatching duty. You got multiple carriers running freight for the same broker with the same lane with the same equipment type. You're leveraging that capacity with all of your carriers with that one broker. You can leverage that to negotiate more money because you're providing them trucks. So brokers like that. If you provide them trucks or assets or capacity, then you can leverage more money for your carriers, okay? As opposed to having like a drive-in, flatbed, reefer here. But if you happen to find one broker who gives you great loads and great lanes at great rates, then it would be wise to provide more of the same equipment types to that broker to run those lanes, okay? So I joined a few months ago, and am I still good? Uncle Buck, I'm not sure what you mean by are you still good? Ashley posted, yes, thumbs up, Rut. Okay, Uncle Buck, what's your real name? Okay. I am buying a straight truck. Does anyone know where to lease, purchase, rent, buy local auto? So with straight trucks being the box trucks, I'm assuming, Uncle Buck, Ryder, Enterprise, Penske. Okay. For Uncle Buck. Ryder, Enterprise, and Penske for box trucks. Okay. Rodney Rose is Uncle Buck. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, so Q&A. Just answering some questions. So I've been getting a lot of requests for walking floor trailer types, hoppers, hopper bottoms, and food grade tankers. Okay. If you feel that you're ready to go that route, there's a different dynamics involved in those specialty equipment types, large specialty equipment types. But I would do your research first, get educated about the uh, the mechanics of those equipment types, how they are used, and what type of commodities go on them before you venture off and talking with brokers about them. And then talk to carriers who drive those equipment types and get comparable rates of what they would run that lane in before you go to that broker, because you don't want to go to that broker with with low numbers. You want to go to them with comparable and competitive rates so that you be able to leverage that and market yourself better for you and your carrier that you're representing. Okay. Um, Ali dispatch. I'm a car hauler and thinking about freight as well. Okay, very good, very good. I'm assuming with being a car hauler, I'm assuming you're registered or you have an account with Central Dispatch, and you're probably dealing with used car dealers. So, what is a good load board for hot shots? Hot shot carrier is one. Uh, Nasima's Closet. Let me put that in there. www.hotshotcarrier.com. Good for hot shots. And then you can find hot shots on the DAT. Depends on what area of the country. If you're in the Houston area, you can be okay with the hot shots. Okay. What is the busy season for dispatchers? It depends on what truck types, or has business slowed down since gas prices have increased. Yes, and yes, D Rut, it is, but we're coming up on the holiday season, so there's going to be a lot of seasonal things going, a lot of movement, like Thanksgiving, Christmas. So products need to get to those stores so that consumers can purchase them for the holidays. So we are coming out of a slow period into a busy season. This is the holiday season after, like after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and on to the new year. So, and it does depend on the truck types, the equipment types, the major equipment types, the three major ones, D-Rut, dry van, flatbed, and reefer. They thrive year round. You have certain areas of the country that freight just moves year round, like the Midwest, some parts of the Southeast, and Texas, the Southwest, certain cities in Texas, like Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, so on and so forth. So, as a dispatcher, as you begin to dispatch and understand directional dispatching and know how things work, high volume of inbound and outbound freight, you'll be able to disseminate where it would be wise for you to send your carrier into and out of, as far as the regions or the zones, as they say. Okay. Um, I would like to hire dispatchers, but how can I do so without the individual knowing how much the business will earn for the load? So asking because I don't see where I can get loyalty out of the employee. So it would be more of a commission based hiring for sub dispatchers, as opposed to so I would hire them as you can choose between, and this is for Nadia Guzman. You can choose between a W-2 employee or a 1099 independent contractor sub dispatchers, where you can give them one of your trucks, right? Let's say you already got the carriers. Let's say you got three carriers, you want to handle two, and you got a third carrier that you give to a sub dispatcher. For every load they book and move, you set up a commission split of the percentage. Let's say you charge 10%, and you get 5 of that for bringing the carrier to that sub dispatcher, and they get the other 5 for managing loads for that carrier. Or you can have a different price point, 60/40, 70/30. Or you hire them and that's 1099, right? Independent contractor. Or you hire them as a W-2 employee, and you just give them an hourly wage or whatever you decide, and they just manage, internally for your company. So, and you put contracts in place to protect your company as far as non-compete, non-disclose information. You can't give away our information for threat of a lawsuit, all these other things that regular companies do with employees, non-compete, non-disclose, so they won't share their information. It's the same concept. It's just a different dynamic at this point. So You used to have a box truck coach section on the website. Do you still offer that? And how did that work? So the box truck coach out of Atlanta, Georgia, Tammy and Sheldon Moore, they're still doing their thing down there. I just took them down from my website because they're doing their thing on that side. They're growing pretty good, and I don't focus more on box trucks at this point than I do on the three major equipment types. The box trucks are more of their niche. I wanted to share their information with people as a way of cross branding their product, but now I want to get back to focusing on mainly uh, the three major equipment types, which are the easiest entry points into this industry from a dispatcher's perspective. The dry van, flatbeds, and reefers, because you can find loads for them easier. They pay the better rates, you know, so, and they're out here on the roads the most. Okay. Um, Easy travels. I'm a trucker. If I wanted to get out the truck and just dispatch, is it possible and make a decent pay like trucking? It is, but it will take time. I'll be honest with you. What you're Now, I don't know easy travels. Are you a company driver or an owner operator? So that's an important question to ask you. If you work for a company and they're giving you so much per mile, oh, excuse me, or are you an owner operator and you're booking your own loads with brokers or direct shippers? Determines how much you're making, the price differences. Okay. In either case, getting to that point from a dispatcher is involves getting your dispatching company together, setting up your business, getting carriers for you to agree to be their dispatcher, and then finding them freight like you used to find freight for yourself as a trucker if you were an owner operator. Or even if you were a company driver, you still remember those shippers and receivers that you went into and out of. Okay. So what are some good D Rut asks, what are some good programs we can use to stay organized in order to dispatch a high volume of carriers? So if you get to a point where you have a high volume of carriers outside of a spreadsheet, you may want to get an out of the box what's called a TMS system and just customize it for dispatching, right? Um, like ITS dispatch, which is offered through TruckStop or any other TMS systems, Ascend, Aljex, eFreight Solutions, Load Pilot, Load Manager. So those are TMS, stands for Transportation Management Software. They're more for the shippers and brokers, but they can be customized out of the box, and those fields can be changed to compensate for dispatching companies. Okay. Um, I think finding the carriers is the hardest part, right? It's the first hurdle in dispatching. So that's why we teach to target those certain carriers that, once you get them, they're the most challenging to get. But once you get those particular types of carriers, the three major equipment type carriers, then you finding loads for them are the easiest. Getting box truck carriers, hot shot carriers, and sprinter vans, cargo vans carriers, those are easy because they need dispatchers because they have equipment types that are hard to find loads for, right? So I would not want to be in that situation where I can get a carrier who has an equipment type that they want me to dispatch for, but I have a hard time finding a load for. I would rather be in a situation where I have more of a challenge getting a carrier who has a dry van, flatbed, or reefer. I'd rather have my vegetables first. Once I get them, carriers, those type of carriers, vegetables, then I'm getting my dessert after that, which means finding loads for them easiest. Okay. So all right. So uh, I see lots of dispatchers posting on Facebook looking for carriers. Okay, yeah, you can. So what they do is Ali Dispatch is they join Facebook groups like owner operator groups, stuff like that, right? And then um, they post on the groups. They solicit their dispatching company saying, "Hey, we provide a service. We're dispatchers. This is what we provide," right? And then they go from there. Finding carriers feels impossible, so you have to change your dynamic up. Go to truck stops, go through social media, do cold calls, do text campaigns, do email blasts. right? So that utilize, don't just go to one area like cold calls and then get stuck there and then give up. There are other methods, right? Visiting truck stops, right? Cold calls, social media like Facebook, like you just mentioned here, Facebook groups, Instagram, what else? Twitter, things like that. Text, get a list of carriers from a resource like a load board, and then put that information, put the phone numbers into a text software, and send one message out to all these phone numbers. That's a text called a text blast, text magic, text line. Those are good ones. And then same thing with email campaigns. Get a list of emails of the carriers from a software or from a load board, import that into a spreadsheet, and then import the spreadsheet into a email campaign software like Constant Contact or MailChimp, right? And then send out one message to a number of emails. And then you'll be surprised how many responses you get. Also, LinkedIn, right? Which is a professional site, almost like a job posting site, but it's professional. It deals with more professional people as opposed to the bubblegum websites like Facebook and Instagram. Those are like kind of like kiddie high school type of stuff. But the LinkedIn is more professional. So you join those groups and get a LinkedIn premium account if you have the budget to do so. Okay. And create a campaign there. Talk about your business, talk about the services you offer, and then what you can provide for them, right? And that's how you can go and offer the services there. So who are you? I'll just read here. Who are, and this is sales, right? So because when you're trying to get someone to come aboard into the services that you're offering, that's a form of sales. So who are you, right? What do you do? And what is in it for you? What is in it for me, right? That's the sales. You're telling them who you are, what you do, and what's in it for you. What can I provide for you? What service I can offer you? And that's how you get a person interested in what you have to offer. Now you have a certain amount of time to explain that to them, but that's how that works. Okay. Let's see. Ashley says for the MCSA list, are these new carrier lists? Are they brand new or just renewing the MC? So it's a combination of all the. So what Ashley is referring to on the FMCSA website, the SAFER website, Safety and Fitness Electronic Records, there is a registry. Any new applicant, someone who applies for their operating authority as a motor carrier, is listed as a matter of public record, right, in that registry. So they don't have a new MC yet, but they have applied to get a new MC. So, and I often tell and advise students of that. When you see those names, they're not new authorities. They are new individuals who are applying for a new authority, which is fine. You can just simply solicit your service to them. Say, hey, I see on the FMCSA register that you have applied for an operating authority. Once you get it, will you be in need of a dispatcher? And if so, what's your equipment? Then you start your spiel. What's your equipment type? How far do you want to go? What's your cents per mile? Yada, yada, yada. Okay. And you go from there. So just remember, they're not new authority carriers yet. They are people who have applied for their authority, still going through the process of getting that authority active by getting insurance, BLC3, UCR, all the other requirements of a motor carrier to have an active authority. But in spite of that, you still can solicit and advertise your services to them. It should not limit you just because they don't have an authority to stop trying to stop them from having you be their dispatcher. Okay. So how do I prevent getting discouraged with all the no's? Knowing that that's reality. And Kimberly, Lindsay, you'll get a lot of no's before you get the yes, right? So if you don't even try, you won't. What's the saying? I'm trying to think of the saying. If you don't even try, you won't fail, right? So you have to try. Failing means when you fail at something, that means you at least tried it. If you don't try, the one thing that can be guaranteed is you won't get a carrier because you haven't even tried. So that's the one guarantee of not getting a carrier. If you didn't even try, if you didn't pick the phone up, if you didn't do anything. So that's the one guarantee I can promise you. I can promise you won't get a carrier if you don't try. Right? And that's common sense, right? But a lot of no's, and each no is a stepping stone to that final plateau where the yes is at. And every no is going to come with some lesson in it, right? This carrier may say, well, no, because, or this carrier may say no, because, and you're taking those lessons and learning from them, and then you're applying them to the next carrier to make your presentation a little bit better. So you're building upon no's to get the yes. Okay. Can we, Latricia Muhammad, can we do this part-time in evenings and weekends? If so, how? Yes, you can. If you have someone who's helping you during the day while you're working a part-time job, I'm assuming you're asking because of part-time job or whatever reasons, whatever things that have you busy that you don't have a full time to do this, but you can do it part-time. You just have to structure it. Let's say you're a person who works an overnight shift full-time, like 11 a.m. to 7 in the morning. Well, most people are asleep. You're working. So when you get off of work, you may get a couple of hours of sleep, like 7 in the morning to 9, and then you get up and start doing your thing, right? So now, Latricia says she has a full-time job during the day. So a day being 9 to 5. Let's say a day being 9 to 5. And then I'm assuming you may be off on the weekends, right? It's still possible. You can use that time, that off time or the time after work to at least start soliciting for the carriers. And then once you get to that part-time process of finding a carrier, now you have to transition to the next stage of seeing if you can find a load. Now, if you're at a job that will allow you to access a computer while you're there or access your phone while you're there, it depends on if your company is structured in such a way that you can only focus on what you're doing for them and you don't have the freedom to do other things at your job, then that may be a challenge. Yes, I agree. So then you would have to come to an understanding or a fork in the road and saying, hey, I have to make a decision. Do I want to leave this job and pursue this full time or stay here, right? And I never tell people, I never advise people to leave a job, something that's paying your bills, unless you have expenses saved up to cover yourself for at least, I don't know, 90 to 100 days, three to 6 months, right? Which is what I did years ago. My wife and I, we had a discussion. We sat down. We said, what are our monthly expenses? At the time, we were renting, so rent and other expenses, light, whatever. We decided it was like 3,000 and times 6, so that's like 12,000. So we put that aside to cover our expenses while I was learning the dispatching thing. She was still working, but I was learning the dispatching thing, and it took me about 90 days, half that time, 3 months instead of 6, to get to the point where I was bringing in income that matched or exceeded what I was making at my full-time job. And at that point, I decided to make the transition. So if you're not in that position, then it will be a challenge. But if you are in that position, at least you have the cushion to lean on and the less stressed worrying about if you are going to be able to cover your bills while you are pursuing this new venture. Okay. 6 months I plus is safer. Yes. YMH says, hey, what is included in your dispatch course? Let me copy the join page link to this so you can check that out. YMH and others. Patrick said, great, thank you. Okay, so great questions, guys. Q&A is wonderful. We've been up here for about 40 minutes. Q&A was one of the reasons why I came on here. The second reason, and there were 3, Q&A and the 2 announcements that I made. The first of which was that starting November 1st through the end of the year, for those of you who are subscribers and non-subscribers just happening to listen in but are not enrolled members into our Dispatcher 101 course, training for beginners, we are having a end of the year extravaganza sale, 50% off, half off, from November 1st to the end of the year to enroll. My goal is to get maybe 1,000 people enrolled at that price point, right? That's a goal, right? But it may not happen. If it does, it's great. If it does not, that's still fine. At least I'll get people taking advantage of entering into this at a cheaper cheaper price point, right? So, we got somebody putting some crazy stuff on here. Let me get them off of here. So, that was the second announcement. The first announcement was Q&A. The second one was the November 1st through the end of the year, 50% off. And then the third announcement, because I'm getting ready to get off now, but the third announcement was the in 2023, because we're finishing off 2022 on a high note by giving you guys some great savings. 2023, we're going to increase our prices just slightly. Our membership. Oh, speaking back of the 50% off, that is for the initial enrollment in the ongoing training, where you get the first 30 days at that price point. And then after the 30 days of having access to load boards and everything that we've given you, if you want to continue that from November to the end of the year, it would be still under that month to month $29.99 monthly subscription. Okay, that's in 2022. Now in 2023, our price points are going to change. Dispatching 101 is going to go from $4.99 to $5.99. It's not going to be 30 days of access for that price point. It's going to be 90 days. So we're expanding it. And then after 90 days of having access to everything and getting all the trainings, the Zooms, the load boards, forms and documents, access to our private Facebook groups, everything that we offer that's on the website that you can read. I'm just throwing it out here now. After 90 days now, instead of 30, 90, if you want to do the month to month, and there's an unlimited amount of time for the month to month. It's not for the year, but you can be in it for perpetuity, right? There is a $34.99 monthly subscription after 90 days of getting in, right? Instead of 30 days in 2022. In 2023, the price point is going to be $5.99. And then for 90 days, after 90 days, you will have month to month option if you decide. If you don't after 90 days, and we track from your enrollment date for 90 days, and we'll let you know like a week or a few days prior, hey, your 90 days is about to come up. Are you interested in continuing? If so, we can start automatically sending you invoices, right? And we'll keep track of that so you'll know. It won't be a mystery. You get an invoice in your email saying, hey, why am I getting this invoice, right? I didn't say either yes or no, right? So we want to keep track of that for you, okay? Is it a bad time with the uncertainty of the economy to get into starting a course? Yes and no. I'll be realistic. So the one thing I am with you guys is transparent. Harley girl, whether the economy is up or down, this industry is not going anywhere. Transportation, I mean, right? Trucking, freight brokering, dispatching, intermodal, what have you, right? It's things are still moving as it relates to the transportation industry. Those goods are still being manufactured and shipped to those wholesalers, distributors, and retail stores where the end users go to purchase them. Once that happens, then you get a true shutdown of the economy. Right now, we're just getting a lot of politicians filibustering each other right now, right? So yes and no, right? Stephen Smith, if I buy broker training, do I have to use it now because I'm still in dispatch training? No. You can either buy it now and hold it, or you can wait later on till you feel that you're ready to transition into broker training. The choice is yours, Mr. Smith, okay? The choice is yours. But I'm assuming why you want to buy it now, because you want to take advantage of this upcoming November 1st, a week from today, sale that we're going to have, I'm assuming. So I see the logic in what you're asking. So, all right. But that was the announcement, and I'm putting it on the YouTube channel for all 27,000 subscribers. If I can get 1,000, my goal is to, by the end of the year, was to grab another 1,000 members to join Dispatcher 101 training for beginners, and I wanted to do it at a cheaper entry point, so you guys can come in, start the process, getting the training. It is a inexpensive investment. You can look at it as that. You start your own company as an investment, and you can write the training off of your taxes. If you are structured correctly as a business, anything you do for your business is a tax write-off, depending on how you're structured, LLC, S Corp, So you get that money back, or you not necessarily get it back, but you lower your taxable income. so you pay less taxes based off of certain things that you've done for your business, keeping your receipts, writing things off. So, okay. All right, guys. Pretty much spoke double the time that I did on the freight broker side to the dispatcher side, but hopefully you guys got the gist of what I was speaking about. The Q&A, the 50% off special from November 1st to the end of this year, 2022, and then the price increase in 2023 and the increase of time that you can be in the program and then the monthly subscriptions thereafter. Okay. So any questions and clarity that you may need, I will put which is what I'm doing now, phone number into, you're welcome, Madonna, into the chat here. Also in 2023, we are bringing our YouTube University along. We're providing services from other members who are students who have expertise in other areas in transportation onto the website where you can take advantage of their services, right? They have price points to their services, right? So if you don't agree with their price points, just don't select the service. But I'm giving them an opportunity to provide a service through Exodus, right? That's the whole purpose of the university. Any extra services. So we're trying to keep everything in-house as opposed to going to third-party companies that you may not be familiar with, going out to those third-party companies that you know nothing about. Why not stay within the network and deal with individuals that you know that is part of a network that is trying to do it the correct way and take advantage of their services and their price points, knowing that we've already vetted them. Okay, so, all right. All right, guys. Thank you for your time. Appreciate your time. Remember, November 1st to the end of the year, the 50% off, half off extravaganza. And there will be advertising and promoting about it. So this is just the official announcement of it on this channel today. And this week, for those of you who are on this channel, who are members of Dispatcher 101, we had training this past Sunday at 11 a.m. We're having training on Wednesday at 6 p.m. and training on Saturday at 12 noon, all Eastern Standard Time. Okay, and I will put the link, the Zoom for that. And you can go to our website and everything is pretty much in front of you. You just got to know where to look at it. You're welcome on our Seamless Closet. Yep. And D-Rut, welcome D-Rut. I'm not sure if you are a enrolled member yet, D-Rut, but if you are not, looking forward to you considering. The best home-based business on the planet. Yes, sir, Mr. Sedana. Sedana's he does the content and things of that nature. I know Sedana's like, this is the first I've heard of this. November 1st to the end of the year, half off extravaganza before the 2023 price increases. So, but I'm sure Sedana's going to go back and listen to this and say, okay, let's tweak this a little bit. But at any rate, there we go. Okay. All right, guys. 48 minutes. I think we've been in long enough. I think the point was made, and I think hopefully I've answered everyone's question. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Those of you who are enrolled members in the Dispatcher 101 training for beginners. I'm gonna try to get my tax CPA guy to come on either Wednesday or Saturday. I've been talking to him, so his things are slowing down on his side. So to answer some tax questions. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your week. Students, I'll see you guys on Wednesday and Saturday. Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern and Saturday at 12 noon. And I put my information in the chat so you guys can contact me. Those who aren't students but are subscribers and have questions, need more clarity outside of this live, we'll go ahead and answer that as well. Okay. Enjoy the rest of your week. God bless.